Your belly looks like a raccoon's. Can't even see you as a woman anymore. Haha. Just raise the kid on your own. Haha. Mike laughed heartily, then gulped down the beer he had filled to the brim in his glass. Satisfied, he let out a loud exhale. I had heard that once you become a mother, you're no longer seen as a woman. But I never imagined it'd be to this extent. Man, I feel cheated. I want a divorce. Perhaps he was emboldened by the alcohol. Or maybe he was sure I wouldn't respond. Either way, he's a complete fool. Do you really want a divorce that badly? Of course, I do. Well then, should I grant you that divorce? Oh, really? That would make me happy. I'm free at last. Mike laughed foolishly, mixing his joy with his jokes. I responded by dramatically unfolding a paper in front of him. Fine by me. Here, the divorce papers. Timing is everything in life. For me, this was the perfect moment to get a divorce. Once things settle down after childbirth, I'll have my revenge in spades. I'm Katherine Johnson, 26 years old. A humble manga artist. I haven't had a blockbuster hit, but I managed to get continuous work and thankfully can keep going. Originally a reserved person, manga was my life. My sister Alice, who is 3 years older, often mocked me, saying things like, "You're more into 2D than real life, just like a typical introvert." I never thought I'd get married in my lifetime. I even believed it myself. But fate had it that I got married last year. My husband's name is Mike, a salesman of the same age as me. We were introduced by a friend, started dating, and eventually got married. With this marriage, I had some concerns. Specifically, about my sister. Actually, we sisters have no relatives. That's because our parents eloped to get married. Moreover, they passed away in an accident 3 years ago. So we sisters are each other's only family. Thus, leaving my sister behind to move out made me feel a bit guilty. Honestly, I can't say we were very close. Our polar opposite personalities often led to clashes. Also, my sister had a high-handed attitude, often mocking me. We even got into physical fights when she looked down on my manga work. Still, it's strange how I feel a bit lonely now that I'm leaving. If you ever run into trouble, feel free to contact me. Acting like a mother, are you? Who do you think you are? You better make sure you don't get divorced, okay? With such spiteful words, I was seen off. Married life wasn't particularly novel. I found out I was pregnant soon after getting married. It was a weird feeling, both happy and unreal. Mike didn't seem to fully grasp it either. His reaction wasn't great. Well, I had hoped to have a child someday, so maybe it was good. I thought it was that simple. But carrying a child turned out to be more physically demanding than I expected. Things I could do before became impossible. A little exertion would tire me out. Staying up all night drawing manga was out of the question. Additionally, I was in charge of all the household chores, which was incredibly tough. I can't help me. Normally, I find it hard to rely on others, and seldom show weakness. But I quickly raised the white flag, a realization brought on by pregnancy. The person I asked for help was, of course, my husband, Mike. He grew up as an only child, spoiled and doted upon. As a result, he's utterly incapable of doing household chores. Still, there are things he could do, like buying ready-made meals or washing dishes. Yet, his response to my request was shocking. "What's this? Playing the pregnant lady card, huh?" Listen up, Catherine. Pregnancy isn't an illness, you know. This means, with enough willpower, anything can be managed. Excuse me. No, that's not right. Since it's not a disease, it can't be cured, and there's no real medication. That's why rest is the best solution. But before I could argue, the smell of the garlic snack made me nauseous. I can't take it anymore. It stinks. After rushing to the bathroom and returning, Mike just shrugged his shoulders in frustration. What's with this deliberate dash to the toilet? Such performance doesn't affect me. You know, I often throw up due to hangovers. I know one can still function in that condition. Don't compare pregnancy nausea with your hangovers. I glared with all my might, but it seemed to have no effect on Mike. In the end, I had to continue doing the chores as best as I could. Then I got a call from an unexpected person. "How's your pregnancy going? Gained weight? Is that what you say to a pregnant sister?" My sister is no different from Mike. And I'm mostly throwing up, so I might end up losing weight. Just managing to maintain it. What? That's convenient. Morning sickness diet, huh? If she were in front of me, I might have slapped her. Is that all you called for? If so, I'm hanging up. Rather than dealing with my sister, I'd prefer to get some sleep. I probably won't be able to sleep due to feeling sick, but lying down is still better. Shall I help you out? What? I can quickly handle the household chores, right? That I can do. Really? And so, my sister began to occasionally help with the chores at my house. She's not good at cooking, so we decided she would bring ready-made meals instead. It's costly, but she also helps with the cleanup. And though she doesn't hang the laundry, she runs the washing machine. Most importantly, having her around improved Mike's mood, which was a relief. Thanks to her, I was spared from comments like acting like a pregnant lady, or just deal with it with some willpower. It's such a relief that my sister comes to help. Right. Ignorantly, I thanked my sister profusely, not knowing the truth. A few days later, I encountered a shocking scene. This can't be true. My sister and Mike were blatantly having an affair in the room next to mine, where I usually slept. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. While Mike was profusely apologizing, my sister looked annoyed. Basically, I did what you asked, right? I even took care of your husband. I didn't ask for that. I only asked for help with the housework. I never thought my sister would be so outrageous. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? If you're going to call someone outrageous, then discipline your own husband properly. It's your fault for letting him be taken away. I couldn't forgive this. Leave now. I don't ever want to see your face again. Ha, that's my line. From now on, we're done. I'll never consider you my sister again. After throwing her parting shot, my sister left. The next problem was Mike. Hey, It was your sister who seduced me. I couldn't just refuse. But I know I did wrong. I'm reflecting on it. If I'm being honest, I'd like to divorce him right now, but that wasn't feasible. Divorcing now would bring little benefit to me. I might get some child support, but finding an apartment in my condition would be difficult. Plus, as a manga artist, there's no guarantee I'd get a rental agreement. Therefore, as frustrating as it is, the best course of action is to stay until the child is born and things settle down. Fortunately, my sister declared our estrangement. Knowing her pride, she won't contact me for a while after saying so much. The next concern is Mike's infidelity. This time it was with my sister, which was relatively manageable. There was no financial harm, and I noticed it quickly. But a slight misstep could have led to a disaster. For instance, if his affair was with a married woman, it would be the worst-case scenario. I might even end up paying child support. I plan to divorce him after childbirth, but until then, he needs to behave. I made this clear to Mike. There won't be a next time. Get it together. I get it. I'm going to be a father. After all, I was skeptical, but since I kept a close eye on him, there were no suspicious behaviors afterwards. However, his attitude towards life remained the same, and all household chores were still my responsibility, increasing my burden. I couldn't rely on my sister anymore. I kept telling myself it was all for my unborn child, and somehow managed to keep going. Seeing a pregnant woman running around with a pale face, did Mike feel nothing? I hoped he would worry and help a bit, but there was no sign of it. Instead, he casually added the laundry. "Wash these, will you?" "Excuse me. Wash them yourself." But I don't know how to use the washing machine." Mike's remarkable trait is that he truly does nothing. If I stopped doing the laundry room would soon overflow with dirty clothes and start to stink. If Mike won't do it, then neither should I. That's what I thought at first. But I couldn't win this standoff and ended up pushing myself to do the chores. And of course, my intuition kicked in at such a time. Mike was cheating again, without evidence, and not even knowing who it was with. But his returning time, smell, and mood indicated it was true. Despite the hardship of pregnancy and desperately doing household chores, being cheated on again, and yet unable to divorce, I felt so pathetic that I wanted to cry. Honestly, I wanted to divorce him as soon as possible. I could manage on my own, but I married such a burden. I was disgusted with my own lack of judgment. Then one day, I got a call from my editor. Due to my pregnancy, I had put several manga series on hiatus. Perhaps it was about that. What if they were calling to cancel my series altogether? That would make divorcing even more difficult. Nah, I don't like this. Nervously, I answered the phone. "Hello, this is Johnson speaking." Catherine, hello. This call, which I took with determination, was about to change my fate. "Hi, I'm tired." "Hi, how's your day today?" I usually wouldn't greet him, but this day was different. I welcomed Mike with a smile, encouraged him to take a bath, and even prepared a beer for him after his bath. "Hey, what's this all about?" Though he said that, Mike happily sipped his beer. Well, it's okay once in a while. As he drank more, Mike became happier, and his tongue loosened. His true feelings began to spill out. "Your belly looks like a raccoon's. Can't even see you as a woman anymore. Hada, just raise the kid on your own, haha." Pointing at me, he made a terrible comment. Then he laughed heartily and chugged down the beer he had filled to the brim in his glass. Satisfied, he let out a loud exhale. The breath, mixed with the smell of alcohol, reached me, and I involuntarily scowled. I had been considering divorce from Mike ever since his affair was exposed. But the idea had flickered in my mind even before that. I thought it would be better for a child to have a father, so I tried to hold back. I tried to overlook Mike's faults. His messy habits, sloppy eating, lack of consideration towards me. I thought I could endure it. But after the affair's suspicions with my sister, I reconsidered. There are fathers who are better off not being present. At least, a father who doesn't care for his pregnant wife, behaves arrogantly, and cheats on top of that. Such a father is not needed. Far from quitting smoking or drinking, he flaunts his habits in front of me. He'd be a bad influence on the child, and a hindrance in parenting. Economically, I'm not in trouble. The recent proposal I received has significantly changed my situation. There's no need to endure this marriage anymore. All that's left is to get Mike's consent. I heard that once you become a mother, you're no longer seen as a woman. But I never imagined it'd be to this extent. Man, I feel cheated. I want a divorce. Perhaps he was saying this under the influence of alcohol. Or maybe he believed I wouldn't agree. Either way, a fool was shouting. "Do you really want a divorce that badly?" Of course, I do. I never planned on having kids this soon. It feels like my freedom has been taken away. Total despair. Well then, should I grant you that divorce? Oh, really? That's great. I'm free at last. Mike laughed foolishly, mixing his joy with his jokes. To him, I dramatically unfolded a paper. "Fine by me. Here, the divorce papers." Mike froze, still holding his glass. Why do you have such a thing?" What a coincidence. I was also thinking about divorcing you. Did you think you were the only victim? I married you hoping we'd be happy together. But I was shocked to find out how unhappy I was. I rattled on with a smile, and Mike managed a strained grin. "But what about you? What about the baby?" "What? This cute little one in my belly? Of course, I'll raise it alone." "You just said it, didn't you? Raise the kid on your own. We're on the same page here." "But are you sure? It'll be a single-parent family." "It's okay. I'll make sure we're happy on our own. In fact, I think we'll be happier that way." Mike kept objecting for a while, despite having said he wanted a divorce. Why? Perhaps due to male pride, or feeling he couldn't back down now. As I continued pushing the divorce papers with a smile, he finally resigned and started filling them out. While writing, he kept muttering, "Are you really okay with this? You'll regret it," but he was writing unusually slowly. Maybe he expected me to cry and cling to him. Come to think of it, he's always been like this, seeking attention, saying things he doesn't mean, making declarations without intention, probably hoping I would beg and plead. This time, it was about divorce. Despite what he said, Mike probably never intended to divorce. He was just going along with it because he couldn't back out. To get him to fill out the divorce papers, I used the power of alcohol. Knowing Mike, I thought he'd be easy to handle once drunk. The real problem was what would happen when he sobered up. What if Mike cried, apologized, and begged for reconciliation? I do have a conscience and guilt. I was a bit worried, but that was unnecessary. The next day, Mike didn't say anything. As soon as he left for work, I quickly left the apartment. And then I submitted the divorce papers. Several months later, I gave birth to a baby boy. Despite the various troubles during pregnancy, it was a smooth delivery. I named my son Andy, and he grew up healthy and strong. Parenting without parents or anyone to rely on wasn't easy. But Andy was adorable, and I cherished our happiness every day. Time flew by, and months passed since Andy's birth. One busy day, as we were starting on solid foods, I received a phone call from an unknown number. After a moment's hesitation, I answered. "Hello, who's this?" "Catherine. It's Catherine, right? Definitely Catherine." He repeated my name insistently. I recognized his voice. "What do you want?" "What do you mean, what? It's me, Mike." Yes, Mike continued to talk in an unusually high-spirited manner. "It's been a while, hasn't it? What, about a year since we last spoke?" "That sounds right." I had sent him an email to inform him of Andy's birth. Despite that, he hadn't even called or sent a congratulatory message. So why was he calling now? "If you have something to say, please be quick. I'm busy." Right. You must be busy. Yay, you're doing great, aren't you?" Mike's words were somewhat hesitant. As I wondered why, a familiar voice spoke from behind him. Yes, Catherine finally answered the phone, my former sister. Since the affair incident, we hadn't been in touch at all. I intended to uphold our estrangement, as she declared. Why is she with Mike? And why does she sound happy about reaching me? I felt only bad premonitions. I thought about just hanging up silently. Just as I was about to do so, the phone was passed to Alice, who spoke with a lively voice. "Catherine, I heard your manga's being turned into an anime. I see, that's their angle." I quickly understood Alice and Mike's scheme. "Anime. Yes, that's right. Isn't that amazing?" In fact, the anime deal was a major factor in pushing me towards divorce. A manga series I had put on hiatus due to my pregnancy was getting animated. Once on hiatus, assured income stops. That had been a hurdle for the divorce, but the anime deal brought a significant windfall. The amount was roughly $350,000 per year. Thus, the anime deal enabled me to decide on the divorce. Of course, I hadn't told Alice or Mike about this. They must have found out somehow. So, dear accomplished author, I have a favor, or rather a request. request. Actually, we've started a business on the side, but it's taking time to get off the ground. Could you help us out? Alice tried to sweet-talk me with her usual charm. Essentially, their business wasn't doing well, and they were asking for money. Why should I? What do you mean why? We're the only two sisters, aren't we? No, I thought we had cut ties, hadn't we? That was just a sisterly quarrel. You can't hold on to that forever. After such a bold declaration, her quick retraction was astounding. And why are you two together? Oh, are you curious? Of course, you are. My sister's voice was full of glee, and I could almost see her annoying smirk. Then, with a sly laugh, she dropped a bombshell. Actually, after you and Mike divorced, we got married. Alice had married Mike. As I remained silent, she gloated. Oh, are you shocked? Sorry about that. Were you hoping for a reunion? But too bad, Mike is mine now. I can't give him back to you. All you can do now is support us. Understand? Alice rambled on cheerfully. To her, I sighed in relief. That's great. Saves me the trouble. Caught off guard by my unexpected response, Alice let out a foolish sound. Great. What do you mean? I've been too busy with the pregnancy to deal with this. But once things calmed down, there was something I wanted to do. Oh, could you put Mike on speakerphone? I want him to hear this too. Okay. Confused, Alice complied with my request. What is it that you wanted to do? I'm planning to get child support from Mike. The other side of the phone went silent. After a moment, a shaken voice responded. Wait, child support? What do you mean? You cheated on me during our marriage, right? I'm thinking of claiming child support for that. That's ridiculous. We've been divorced for a year now. Why bring up such a thing now? That's a long-gone issue. He seemed to imply it was too late, but that's not the case. At the time, I prioritized giving birth. It's absurd to think he wouldn't face consequences for what he did during my hardest time. It turns out you can claim child support for up to 3 years after a divorce. Luckily, I have plenty of evidence, so I was planning to claim it once things settled down a bit. Evidence, Mike shouted in a flipped voice. Yes. Did you think I'd just overlook it? Oh, maybe you thought it was fine because we're sisters. Approved infidelity. There's no such thing. Don't twist things to suit yourselves. After a moment of silence from Mike, a shrill voice erupted from Alice. You. Trying to take money from your own family? That's unbelievable. That must be a lie. Family. We're estranged, remember. But family is family, even if estranged, Alice screamed hysterically. Such self-centeredness. Come on, rethink this. It's wrong. There are things you do and don't do. You're the one to talk. You had an affair with your sister's husband. That's. People who aren't prepared to face consequences shouldn't meddle in others' affairs. Anyway, expect to hear from my liar soon. And remember, you two are strangers to me. Don't ever contact me again. Wait, Catherine. I hung up the phone and set it to block their calls. Just a few minutes of talking, yet so exhausting. Yeah. You just woke up, didn't you? I took a deep breath to switch gears and hurried to my beloved son. I buried my nose in cute Andy's head to soothe my fatigue. Eventually, despite their resistance, I successfully obtained child support from them. They care about their public image, so when I mentioned I might show up at their workplaces, they quickly gave in. One would think marrying your sister's ex-husband would eliminate any concern for public image. But I can't understand their self-centered logic. Incidentally, their claim of starting a business was false, but they were indeed working a side job. Alice, whose workplace prohibited side jobs, was recently discovered and ended up resigning. Knowing her extravagant spending, her life ahead will likely be difficult. I'm relieved I got the child support first. My ex-husband seems to be still working, but he's struggling to deal with Alice, who, despite being a financial burden, doesn't do housework. He's been complaining to others, but as news of their affair and subsequent marriage spread, they've become isolated, receiving little sympathy. I'm living happily with Andy. Recently, I've been considering returning to work. I plan to apply for daycare next year and restart my career. There might be moments when being a single parent brings loneliness to Andy, but I want to ensure I have no regrets. I'll keep striving until he's grown and independent.